the ancient ages, when man had nothing but his mind and his hands, when there was no electricity, no modern devices, no stoves, no blankets, no ready-made fabrics, no glass to close the windows, and no insulated walls, the cold filled the world. The winter night was long, heavy, dark, and mercilessly unending. The air was cold to the point of pain, and snow covered everything: trees, houses, rivers, and roads. Man felt as if the whole world had frozen, and that he himself might turn into a block of ice if he did not find a way to preserve himself and stay alive. He had to invent, to create, and to attempt methods no one had thought of before in order to withstand the silent white enemy. The cave was the first idea, the first house, the first shelter. It was not beautiful, it was not comfortable, but it protected from the winds, its roof shielded from the rain, and its stone walls blocked the cold air from entering. In its depths there was a small fire, a simple fire, but it was everything. It meant life. It burned slowly with broken branches and dry leaves, producing suffocating smoke, but the warmth it gave was more precious than pure air itself. Man would sit before it for long hours, gazing at it, stretching his hands toward it, blowing on it so it would not go out, because he knew that his whole life depended on a tiny flame. In the plains of Siberia, where the cold was harsher and more extreme, people found no wood or stone to build with, so they used the massive bones of the mammoth, those extinct creatures. Their bones became the frames of strange houses planted into the snow and covered with thick hides, turning into huts made of bones. Frightening huts, but relatively warm. Inside those strange dwellings, people sat around their small fires while the winds howled outside, as if they were living inside the tombs of giants, just to survive one more night. And in the pole, where there was nothing but ice and nothing beyond ice, the idea was stranger still. Every house made entirely of snow. A cold house on the outside, yet warm inside, because blocks of ice, when arranged in a circular pattern, became insulating walls. The faint heat produced by the body or by a small oil lamp was enough to change the atmosphere indoors. And so snow became both enemy and friend. Enemy when it surrounded you, friend when you built your house from it. In the far Himalayas, monks sat silently amid the snow, wearing only light clothes with no fire, no blankets, no wood. They had only slow breathing, intense concentration, and a spiritual practice called tummo. By it, they raised the temperature of their bodies with their minds until the ice around them melted. They sat like cold statues, yet their bodies were warm from within. It was a strange sight, the mind becoming a heater and the breath a substitute for firewood. In medieval Europe, people used whatever they could: wolf hides, bear furs, bird feathers, dried moss, even dry grass, tying them around their bodies in insulating layers. Beauty meant nothing. Survival was everything. In many villages, sleep was communal. One large bed gathered father, mother, children, and grandparents. Bodies pressed together, breaths shared, warmth transferred from one body to another. The bed was more than a place for sleep. It was an arena of survival, for human warmth was the only stove. In Russia, the stone oven was the beating heart of the home. It was not just a place for baking and cooking, but also a bed on which people slept, as the heat of the fire traveled through the stones and kept the mattress warm through the night. Sleeping on the oven was like sleeping on the sun. In a dark desert house where the climate betrayed with a harsh drop after sunset, the Bedouins buried their feet in the sand that had stored the heat of the day. That alone was enough to give them some warmth until dawn. In old Japan, there was the kotatsu, a small table with a charcoal stove underneath and a blanket draped over it. People slid their legs under and sat around it, talking or sleeping. Simple warmth, yet it gathered the whole family. In Old England appeared the bed warmers, copper bottles filled with hot water and placed under the covers to heat the bed a little. In the Andes Mountains, people wore thick woolen hats that covered the head and ears, and they still wear them to this day. In the Alps, people drank hot wine mixed with spices, not for pleasure, but to protect their bodies from freezing inside. All these methods were not just small details, but a complete philosophy of life. They were stories about cooperation, about family, about creativity under pressure, about the endless struggle with harsh nature. Cold was an enemy that never tired, and man was a fighter who refused to surrender. Every method, no matter how strange it seemed, was a cry for life. From the first cave, to the bones, to the snow, to the fire, to the animal, to the sand, to the mind, to the small table, all were extensions of one story. The story of cold and man. And when we slow our speech and let silence stretch, we hear the echoes of our ancestors' footsteps as they searched for warmth. We see their faces lit by tiny fires. We hear the winds raging outside the caves. We hear the breath of cattle. We see the monks sitting in the snow. We see the children curled beneath heavy blankets. And we understand that the warmth we have today was not ordinary. It was the fruit of thousands of years of fear, experience, and struggle. It was the fruit of sweat, fear, tears, and hope. Now, when we close the heater or press the button of central heating, we do not think much about those stories. But if we lower our heads a little and doze off to the rhythm of these words, we will feel that we are sharing the long night with them, that we are sitting with them in the cave, or in a house of bones, or upon a stone oven, or beneath a thick blanket. And we will know that sleep was never a luxury, it was a battle. And warmth was never a habit, it was a miracle. And so the speech grows longer and slower, as if time itself slows with the story, until drowsiness gradually overcomes you and you drift to sleep as your ancestors did on long, cold nights. But they always found a way to survive. If you enjoyed this video, share your opinion in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.